Howdy everyone, I'm your host Andy from Zeldom. Before we get into this video, I'm hosting a giveaway for 3 copies of Tears of the Kingdom when it releases. So if you're interested in participating, stay tuned till the end of the video for more details. Anyways, in celebration of Valentine's Day, and the fact that I'm forever alone, we will be revisiting our Link's Love series, focusing on the hero of the sky. So without further delay, let's dive into it. Skyward Sword stands out from the rest of the series with its direct storyline, and with this comes the most expressive Link. This provides us with a clearer perspective on Link's emotions compared to Ocarina of Time or Breath of the Wild, where Link is almost entirely stoic. Due to this, we'll see how Skyward Sword has one of the most developed love interests in the franchise. But before we get into that, we have to mention some of the notable side characters as we do in the series. A less common ship is Link with Karane, that red-headed girl from the Knights Academy. Fee mentions that Karane is quite popular with the male students, which to me shoots up a lot of red flags. Even though Karane is supposedly quite popular, there are no grounds to ship her with Link because it's later revealed that she only has eyes for Pippet, and Link sets them up during one side quest in the game, so that consideration may be dismissed. We can also make the same conclusion for Kina from the Lumpy Pumpkin. Since she's friendly to him, we can't tell if she's flirting or not, and even if she was, there's just not the content there to justify a canonical relationship between the two. Another side character with more reasoning for a potential match is Orielle. Her dialogue with Link seems slightly flirtatious, but of course, this is subject to interpretation. However, before the wing ceremony, Orielle tells Link how romantic she finds the wing ceremony to be and how she dreams of playing the part of the goddess with the winning knight. Since Link does end up being the winner, this could be a way of the game alluding to Orielle having a crush on Link. But then again, there are several other ways we can interpret this as well if it means anything at all. But what I found most interesting is how Orielle looks at Link when she walks by. She just looks like she wants something.
These nuts?
I find this next one disturbing, but shipping Link with Fee is actually more popular online than you'd like to think. But hey, it is 2023, so nothing should really surprise us at this point. Although Fee is Link's companion for the game, I don't feel the need to do a complete analysis of their relationship, since there are several reasons just to shoot this ship down right away. First off, Fee is the spirit of the Goddess Sword, which evolves into the Master Sword, whose conscious is clearly more artificial intelligence than sentient. Fee also acknowledges that she will enter a deep sleep, supposedly without end, after Link leaves the Master Sword in the Temple of Hylia, which basically confirms that Link from Skyward Sword never got to meet Fee again. As I said, it seems odd that I even have to mention this one, especially considering the last 2 characters we'll discuss. As Link progresses through his journey, it becomes more and more apparent that the girl from the item check, Peatrice, is obsessed with him. At first, she's very timid with him and tries to conceal her feelings. Whenever Link stops by the shop to deposit and withdraw inventory, she becomes increasingly flirtatious with him. As part of a side quest, the player can either reciprocate these actions or reject Peatrice altogether and destroy her newfound confidence. Later, Link goes to speak with Peatrice's father, Peter, who will explain how he thinks his daughter has an unwanted admirer, regardless of whether Link shuts her down. Peter then asks Link to find out who this creep is, completely unaware that it is his daughter who is obsessed with Link. Link can choose to be honest and reject Peatrice despite her practically begging for attention. But instead, if Link goes along with the charade and tells her that he's into her, she'll get all giddy and act like she got engaged. What baffles me is that how the developers hardly ever try to give solid evidence of Link having romantic interest in the games. However, if Link does tell Peatrice he's interested in her, Fee even says, "Master, your interest in this young woman is clear. I can see your aura shining brightly with joy in her presence. I strongly recommend that you do not mention this when you next encounter Zelda." This is an unusually clear insight by Fee as to what Link is feeling, and as we'll soon discuss, Fee is likely recommending not telling Zelda since she has historically gotten jealous of Link. Because the quote suggests that Link could be genuine with his feelings for Peatrice and not just leading her on, shipping Peatrice and Link together actually has some grounds. However, anyone who has played Skyward Sword must know of Link's and Zelda's unique bond. They're said to have been very close since childhood, and Zelda even has a pet name for him, Sleepyhead. This tone is established before the player can even begin playing the game, as Link is woken up by Zelda's Loftwing delivering a letter to him. At first, he's groggy, but after reading the last line of her letter, which says, "You better not keep me waiting," we can tell by the smile that forms on Link's face that he found Zelda's teasing with that last line either humorous or sweet. Some critics have claimed that even by the end of the game, Link and Zelda just remain close friends and nothing more, but I beg to differ. On the day of the wing ceremony, Zelda's father, Headmaster Gapora, tells Zelda, "Do you recall when Link and that Loftwing of his first met? What a sight." The little boy just hopped up on that bird and gracefully flew away without even a moment of instruction. They were meant for each other, and judging by how jealous you were that day, I'd say the friendship he shared with his bird didn't go unnoticed by you, my dear. This is proof that Zelda gets jealous when someone or something takes him away from the time he could be spending with her, which strongly suggests that she has feelings for Link, more substantial than just friendship. Furthermore, it's implied Link also feels similarly since he tends to rub the back of his head when he's embarrassed, which he does when he notices Zelda watching him blankly gazing at the sky. To further prove Zelda's affection for Link, it's apparent that she really wanted to perform the wing ceremony with Link and was determined to ensure that he won the competition. Later in the game, Link can enter Zelda's bedroom, where he finds her diary entry from the day before the wing ceremony, which reads, "Tomorrow's the big day, the wing ceremony. Finally, Link can take a big step towards becoming a knight. I can't wait to see him promoted to full knighthood, but I'm a little worried he might have some trouble winning the race. Lately, Link hasn't been taking his flight training seriously. Someone needs to make sure he doesn't mess up his chance. So I've made up my mind. Tomorrow, I'll wake him up extra early and make sure he gets some last-minute practice, whether he likes it or not. He has to win, or we won't be able to perform the wing ceremony together." Even though things don't go as planned, Link still manages to pull the win and perform the wing ceremony together. Towards the end, Zelda starts flirting with Link and asks him if he knows the last part of the ceremony. The player can choose one of 3 options for Link to respond with. If the line "uh-oh" is selected, Zelda will get all sassy and say, "And just what are you thinking?" Then regardless of whatever Link said, she takes a giant step forward, getting so close to him it looks like they're gonna kiss. But then she reveals she's just teasing him and tells him he has to jump off the statue. I always thought this version of Zelda was charming, but I'm just now realizing she's kind of mean. I still think they make a great couple, but sometimes Zelda does kill the mood. And nearly Link as well. Following the ceremony's completion, Zelda seemingly asks Link out by asking if he would like to go flying around in the clouds together, which Link says yes to because he's not a complete idiot. The look on Zelda's face as she asks him out, and while they're gliding through the sky together, truly shows that she wanted to finally be more than just friends with Link, but is a bit nervous about confronting him with these feelings. So far, we've established that Zelda almost certainly loves Link, but we still need to cover the evidence that supports him having the same feelings for her. The music that plays on Link's and Zelda's supposed date is officially titled Romance in the Sky. Likewise, the track for the scene where Zelda was just watching Link gaze into the sky was simply titled Romance. Even Aonuma has said in an interview that they intentionally added hints of romance into Link's and Zelda's relationships to tug at the player's heartstrings later on in the story. But we'll get into that part in a bit. If we look back at the layout of Zelda's bedroom, we'll notice that she has a couple of blue, hand-carved wooden birds, resembling her Loftwing as decoration. These were almost certainly crafted by Link, since he has blocks of wood, carpentry tools, and even an unfinished sculpture sitting on a desk in his bedroom. This is a subtle, yet critical detail to keep in mind, since no one else on Skyloft has these sculptures made by Link, and no, Peatrice doesn't have any either. Based on Zelda's need to spend lots of time with Link, it's safe to say her primary love language is quality time, while Link's appears to be a mix of that and gift-giving. Furthermore, during the wing ceremony, when Zelda gives Link the sailcloth she crafted, Link does his goofy, "You got an item" pose, and then the game text says, "You got the sailcloth. Now you can jump from any height without fear of a painful landing." It smells nice too. It's one thing for him to think her sailcloth smells nice, but the fact that he smelled it at least shows he's attracted to her. It's a pretty weird thing to do, but hey, it supports the ZeLink ship, so I had to throw it out there. Zelda is shown to be the most important person in Link's life. Once Link reaches the sacred spring behind the Earth Temple and sees Zelda, both of them are deeply hurt when she has to leave without giving him an explanation as to what's going on. When Link first woke up after Zelda had been snatched away by the vortex, we could tell Link was utterly devastated. By the time he reaches her at the spring, he may have had the time to realize that he's doing all of that work because he loves her. After Link is left alone at the sacred spring, he even has a vision of her, where he smiles, and we can even infer that she's his motivation to keep serving the role of the hero. This notion is further supported as the story progresses. After Link finally catches up with Zelda, whom we could call Hylia at this point, she tells Link, "I knew that if it meant saving Zelda, you would throw yourself headfirst into any danger without even a moment's doubt. This, in addition to Link's actions during the game, proves that Link cared enough for Zelda's well-being that he was willing to put his own life on the line to bring her back home. After Zelda, also known as Hylia, finishes explaining everything to Link, she begins to seal herself away, telling Link, "Before all this, I was happy just spending my days hanging around with you in Skyloft. I wanted that feeling to last forever. While it's true that I am Hylia reborn, I am still my father's daughter, and your friend. I am still your Zelda." She says this as she gives a sad smile through the crystal. We then get this heart-wrenching scene where Zelda describes how ever since they were kids, she had always been the one to wake him up when he slept in, but this time, if he could come to wake her up. Link makes his vow, and as the sealing process completes and he sees Zelda's body hibernating within the crystal, we can see him look down and cry. This is the only time in any Zelda game where Link is actually shown crying, which should help solidify the idea that he loves her. Once Link obtains the full Triforce and eradicates Demise in their time, Zelda awakens from her slumber. As she begins to walk down the steps to Link, she loses her strength and he runs up to catch her in his arms. Zelda then has the simple but heartwarming line, "Good morning, Link." Then the two walk out hand in hand, looking like a newly married couple. If this isn't enough to convince you that Link and Zelda ended up together, I don't know what could. But the cherry on top for this analysis will have to be the post-credits scene. It depicts some of the inhabitants of Skyloft, such as Colin, Stritch, and Zelda's father, Gapora, coming down to the surface to reunite with Link, Zelda, and Groose. Near the end of it, we see Groose and his friends fly back up to Skyloft on their Loftwings. Then Zelda looks over at Link and tells him that she wants to live on the surface, and asks Link what he's going to do going forward. Link gives her a big smile, and then the camera pans, showing their Loftwings flying off into the sky together. The Loftwings leaving together implies that Link stayed on the surface to live with Zelda, and the Loftwings flying off side by side symbolize them becoming a couple. Although I did show earlier in this video how Link may have had feelings for Peatrice depending on the actions the player chose to pursue, none of these invalidate any of the points we just made to justify Link's and Zelda's relationship. Because the main storyline remains unchanged, including all the details we've discussed in this video, and Link still chooses to live alongside Zelda on the surface, we can safely say that Link and Zelda of Skyward Sword ended up together. Before you go, let me explain the details of my Tears of the Kingdom giveaway. As I said in the beginning, I will be giving away 3 free copies of Tears of the Kingdom when it releases this May. Entries will be open from the release of this video and will close on April 15th. Winners will be contacted through email and have up to 48 hours to claim their prize. If they would like to receive a physical copy of the game instead of a virtual copy, the winner will need to provide their shipping address in that email. This giveaway is available worldwide, however, it is your responsibility to know if giveaways are prohibited where you live. Best of luck to all of you. Zeldom out.